Hey all, hey all, hey all. I have a special treat for you all. I'm super excited. My name is Dustin Schaefer, if we haven't met yet. I have a special guest on that side, special guest right there. I cannot wait to introduce you to Norma, somebody that I've gotten to know now pretty well over the last like year and a half, 2 years, but we've known of each other for quite a few years. And it's been interesting. The more time I've spent with her, it's the more I realize that I have a lot of dreaming. I can dream bigger. Like there's a lot more impact in the world we can make, and I can't wait to share what I'm talking about there. But we're going to be talking about relationships. What I've learned in I think all of life is that the quality of your life is often the quality of the relationships that you have, and there's a fulfillment in that relationships that you create. And there's sometimes where maybe that we're lacking in that. There's some areas that maybe also enabling in that. So we got to be careful of both. But if we can magnify our ability to create relationships, but also foster relationships, you are going to make a bigger impact, not only in your life and your fulfillment, but also if you're an entrepreneur or a business person, or if you're building Prove It, you're going to be able to move more people and serve more people with that quality. And so there's nobody better that I would love to share relationship marketing and relationship building than Norma. I just almost said your name like Sheplin. I almost
Chaplain.
said sorry about that.
No
But
worries.
nobody would rather share that with you, because not only is her ability to create relationships literally and develop relationships, but she has this huge mission and vision of the impact she wants to make in the world. And I'm going to have her, before we get into sharing some really good strategies of help to build those relationships and foster those relationships. I'm going to have her share a little bit of her background, a little bit about herself, but also I want you, Norma, to just talk about your mission of like how important it is for you to do what you do, not only here in the States but all over the world.
No, yeah, sure, Dustin. Thank you for the introduction. I have always been an entrepreneur. I have a business degree, and I tried to work for a company, but I was just not an 8 to 5 person. I couldn't do what they wanted me to do and make the income at the time that I wanted with the, I think, special skills that I had. And so I quickly got out of that. By the way, I'm going on 55, so I have like a lot of years behind me getting to this
And
point.
you have a lot of years left. So you got both.
Absolutely.
You got both.
Absolutely. That's right. It's never too late. You just have to start. And so I've had some businesses, very, really good, productive businesses, but I gave everything up when my husband started working for Aramco in Saudi Arabia. And it was really funny because I believe Prove It was around in 2015, 2016. Well, I was across the world going through some issues that I was having, met a Swedish woman who found the product from a New Zealand person. And we happened to live in the same camp. And she kept telling me, Osa, and she's a wonderful person. She kept telling me all these wonderful things about this ketones. Gosh, and I'm like, there's just no way. We all feel that when we hear about this. There's no way. And I researched like we all do. I had to go to Google and find out what this was all about because I didn't want to believe my friend. Prolonged my agony, actually. But I actually, if I'm transparent, I actually bought something else on Amazon that was way cheaper. But I found out that I had to take 3 times as much, and it tasted absolutely awful. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way you're gonna get me to drink these, Osa, because they taste like this. And she's looking at the bag, and she's like, what? No, these don't taste like that. So I ended up getting a trial pack and drinking the ketones, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is everything that she was telling me. Of course, it didn't happen overnight for me. It took a couple of weeks. But when it started kicking in and working, I was like, my whole entire family saw such a dramatic change. And I didn't even want to believe it. I kept saying, no, it's finally just, me sleeping better. Well, it didn't dawn on me. I was sleeping better because I was drinking the ketones, right? I was exercising because I had some energy, and I was like, that's why I'm feeling better. Well, it didn't realize it was the energy from drinking the ketones that got me to the gym. All these little things that I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to prove it wasn't working, right? But the longer I kept drinking them, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is for real. And the most important part of that little beginning story is the fact that and my voice is shaking because I don't want to start crying, but my kids, we're older parents, and my kids right now are 14 and 15. They were like at 10 at the time, 10 and 11 boys. And they were like, Mom, you had been crying, you had been fussy, you had been angry over, little things. I wasn't cooking dinner, I wasn't getting out of bed. I thought I was just like truly depressed because I was missing home. We had left our daughter and two boys back at home and our friends and family. And they're like, whatever it is that you're doing, if it's these ketones or whatever it is, just keep doing it because you're our mom now. You're back. You're happy. You're cooking dinner. You're doing homework with us. There's not the little bickering over little things. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I knew then as I was developing into other areas while I was living in Saudi that I had to tell people about this. That was when I go back and I think of why we were sent to Saudi Arabia, and I found this, which is about an hour and a half, the manufacturing plant's an hour and a half away from me here in Texas, that I had to go to Saudi Arabia to find this. I was like, there's a reason why. And so that's how my business started. I was on a mission to let people know in the area that I was in all about this product.
Well, let me ask you a question there, because I know you have a big mission, and I know you're passionate about women getting their power back, especially from Saudi Arabia. And I do want you to touch on that as we get to develop into this relationships and how important these relationships are and the keys that you have for that. But I just kind of want to take a step back for a second. You think about this: is that you have a business degree, you're a very motivated person, you're a very independent person, strong, right? And I think about how many people out there that they were that person and they kind of maybe lost it somewhere. And it sounds like you had this huge life change. You go to Saudi, you're out there in this other world, and you have some kids here back in the States a little older. You have kids. You have your sons were with you in Saudi, right? At the time. Oh, we might have lost you, Norma. I'm not sure, but it's kind of crazy to think. Oh, she's moving spots
because the internet went out.
That's all right. But it's one of those things where it's like I wonder how many people are there, and it took something to wake you up, right? It literally took you to move across the world, find a product that's manufactured and made right next to where you currently live in the States, but yet you're in Saudi and you get introduced to this thing, and then it woke up like I would say a giant inside of you that was always there. One of the things I like to tell people is like when people go, yeah, I just feel like I feel better. I feel this. I'm like, no, you have greatness inside of you. It was just hidden. It's time to, and ketones can wake it up. But then what you did next, I think, is even more powerful because you're out there sharing a conversation because you want to inspire women to take another step in their life and have this freedom. Can you just touch on how important that is to you? Because I know that's really important thing, especially all the time you spend this. Because a lot of people don't even know when you're over there how things are for females over there.
Right. It was, well, first of all, when I took this to where the levels that I wanted to go, I knew that I couldn't just talk to the people inside our camp. Right. I had to take it outside and I had to think outside the box. That was the first thing. And it's so funny to this day because I had no clue what I was doing on social media. I had no experience whatsoever on Instagram, Facebook. I just kept in touch with Facebook so that my family and friends would know that I'm still alive in the kingdom. But I made this connection on Instagram with this person, and I lived on the eastern part and they lived on the western part in Jeddah. And I lived on the eastern province. And one person said, okay, I'll try your ketones. Because I tried, nobody really knew what they were about. It's hard to explain. There was a language barrier. And so Osa and I, we packed our bags and we flew to Jeddah. Okay. And it didn't cost very much. It was like from Houston to Austin, $30 plane ticket. And so we planned to stay there for 3 days. And when we went to go meet this person, they stood us up. To this day, we didn't meet that person. And we were like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're just going to sightsee. We had our little bags, and Osa with the big blonde hair, the Swedish woman stood out. Me with a Texas accent trying to speak Arabic, I really stood out. But we decided to go knock on doors, right? Well, we didn't, Osa had been living in Saudi for a while, but I didn't know how segregated everything was, male side, women's side. But we'd go knock on these fancy doors and walk in, and we were quickly shooed out because that was the men's side. We didn't know, but then they were like, well, what is it? What are you carrying? And they were like, no, 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 no. Go talk to the women's side. So we'd go around to the other side, which was always like in the back. It was not really pretty. It was all covered.
So you go to a house, like, is it, you're going to a house or like an office
No, there's
building?
not like neighborhoods over there. No.
Okay, so you're going to like an office building, and there's
We just, yeah, we just
men on
ran.
one side, women are stuck behind the back somewhere away
Yeah,
from.
yeah. And this again was 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's a lot of things have changed now because of 2030 vision over there. They have empowered the women a lot over there. But back then, we're in 120, 130 degrees. Our abayas are on. We're walking because we didn't know,
So what, I don't know what an abaya.
a cover, a
A
cover.
cover. So you're
We
all
didn't have to
covered,
cover our heads, but we had to cover our bodies
right?
with an abaya. And so, we're walking with bags of ketones down the street, just knocking on anybody that would want to talk to us, really. And through that, we made several connections. And on through that, we started posting a little bit that we were in Jeddah on Instagram. So people started following us there. Osa had blue hair tips at the time. So we'd show off her blue tips, and that, people wanted to know, right? We'd do a live and all that stuff. And the taxi drivers were like really interested, and they wanted to know, and we'd give out samples and stuff like that. But anyway, long story short, we made several connections that day that brought it full circle for us, to this day, just by meeting that one person that stood us up, trying to meet that one person that stood us up. And let me tell you, it was the people that we've met. This is what's so fun about this business. You don't have to have any experience. I certainly didn't have any experience with this. I had a business experience, and even sales experience, but this is a completely different type of business model and everything. All you have to do is talk to people. All you have to do is share the product. I have this quote that I
And build
use.
the relationships, right? And build the,
Right, right. I use this quote all the time. We don't want to sell products. We want people to be inspired to buy our products and to participate in our community and to be an inspiration to others. And that's 100% our business. I
right,
never want to be that salesperson. I
right,
just want to show people how passionate I am and how it's changed my life around, and how it changed my family's life around, how it's changed my friends and families, and all these testimonials, and have them try the product. So whether it's, health wise or financial wise, there's changes to be made.
right.
Right.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna if you need to prop your phone up a little bit, give your arm a rest. Feel free to do that. I'm gonna summarize a little bit, and then we're
Sure.
gonna get into the relationship side of this. And what's really cool about Norma's story, and y'all, I can get inspired by this, because what I know is that men, women, doesn't matter. If too many people wake up 5, 10, 15 years later in their life realizing they're not quite fulfilled in what they're doing, or they want more, they want to contribute more, or they want to create more in their life, they want to travel more. And here you look at Norma travels across to Saudi Arabia, and she's following her husband's path and dream, which I've done before. And it's great to have that team and collaboration and support. And then when things weren't going well, magical things were actually being presented to her. And the thing I commend about you the most on that is that you took advantage of it. You
Mm-hmm.
tried it, you went through it, and then now you've gotten really inspired to empower a whole nation of women that are now getting their rights, like what we would consider good, better rights, for the first time. And this is only a few years ago. Like, this has started a few years ago. This isn't 30, 50, 100 years, right? That we can relate here in the States. This is just starting for them, and that's real cool. Um, but let's talk about that relationships. Right now, you're a lot of times you're meeting people for the first time, right? And now some people that are in business or in marketing or in Prove It or community-based marketing, they may already have a relationship established, or they may be creating new relationships. And we know that if it's about inspiring people, it's about connecting with people, and it's about sharing with people. That relationship piece, I think, is really important. I think people rush to the sale instead of rush to the relationship building. Now, at the same time, you can over relationship something and not ever go to the sale, which is obviously something you want to be aware of. But can you help us break down what are some tips that you would give people that are watching this on relationship building? What are some things? What are the do's, and maybe what are a couple of the don'ts that you can help people understand this? And if you have a pen and paper, write these down. These are going to be crucial if you execute them and if you implement them.
Yeah, sure. I try to follow this the best that I can, and it's really with trial and error that I've kind of come up with these. But the first one is spend your time with your best people, with your best customers, right? Not all customers are created the same. Some of them are just going to want to try it and move on. Sometimes I think as new promoters, or even if you've been doing this for a while, you have that one person that you're trying to convince all the time. So you spend so much time and energy with that one person instead of spending time with your customers that do buy products from you, or send referrals to. Those are the ones that you need to spend time with, because they're going to essentially send other customers to you.
Can I touch? I'll applaud you on that. So this is kind of like parenting. You have the kid that's having some challenges. We end up giving that kid all our attention, and the good kid kind of gets none of that attention. Or let's not go to parenting. Let's go to school. Same thing can happen in schools, right? The problem kid gets a lot of the attention, where the rest of the students may not get as much because they're not causing that. So that is a really big awareness. And I think that's something I had to overcome, and I love that. I think that's huge, because it's like, let's give that equal opportunity to everybody to get better, not just the ones that we want to convince to get better, that have the biggest voice, or maybe the biggest negative voice sometimes. And maybe this is just not their time, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe this is, they're not ready for it. So I really appreciate you starting with that.
Right. Two, stay in touch with your customer as much as possible, which your timing, as you grow your business and stuff, which will allow, but staying on top of your customer, on top of their mind. Like if you're helping solve their problem, then when they run into somebody else that may have that similar problem or whatever, who are they going to think of when they're like, oh, these are ketones. Norma is the one that set me up with this, da 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 da. You're always on that person's mind. So staying in touch with your customer is very crucial, and making sure that they're having a good, good sound, what's the word? Good results. Sorry, right, to reach their goals. Okay.
But what does that look like? Staying in touch? Is this something that you do every day? Is it something you do every week? Is it something like, what does that mean to stay in touch with them? And maybe how would you do that? How would you stay in touch and communicate with them?
Well, when we know that a customer bought a trial pack, or they've ordered something online, I usually try to wait like 3 or 4 days, 4 days max, maybe 5. And then I'll contact them and I'll say, hey, Helen, I noticed that you bought this trial pack, or, your order online. I just want to see, have you started your ketones, and what's your favorite flavor? Right. And I leave it at that and let them, reply. It's like a 50-50 with my customers. It's either they've dived right in and they absolutely love the product and they're going to tell me, or they're like, oh, Norma, I set it on the counter and I just want to clean out my refrigerator. I want to start my diet on Monday. So I'm trying to get everything together, or I had a party to go to, or I'm on vacation. And that's where I quickly respond, well, that's great. I'm so glad that you're, wanting to really get the most out of, drinking your ketones. But I just want to remind you, the best way to have things start happening for you or meet your goal is just to start drinking them.
Right.
If you're going on vacation, bring them with you. If you're going to go out to a party, drink them before you go out that evening, right? Just drink them.
Yeah, just drink it. Don't wait. I always say, people, like, the healthiest thing in your house is ketones, and you're waiting to drink those. That doesn't make any sense. Like,
Right,
start those now, change things later.
right.
So you might use like a text message, you might use social media, kind of whatever way that you would communicate with that person is kind of the way you would do it. Now, do you write? Do you have like a spreadsheet that you write down? How do you kind of keep
I
track of that?
do. I like to do that because I like to know, who, like by dates. I'll kind of pull it up. It's quicker to do that. Like all these people that started on this date or this month or whatever. Um, I also like to keep a spreadsheet in case, a flavor drops or whatever, so I know that. But then I could just send them a quick text message or an email, something on Messenger, something really quick and easy, just to stay in touch with them. To
Right.
one, make sure that they've started the ketones. Two, to follow up and making sure that they don't drink one on Monday, wait till Thursday to do the next one, then Sunday, to make sure that it is every single day, so that they can see the results, that the ketones can possibly give them.
Awesome. And now, it's about relationships. And so I've done this, which is something I wouldn't recommend. But what are your thoughts of, the only time I reach out to my customers when there's a sale, versus asking them more questions, like what if, if people that have that, well, hey, there's a sale here, here, here. What's your kind of viewpoint? I know that I saw Gary V in the back of one of your things. I know you had a really cool interview with them, and you got to collaborate with them a bit. he talks about jab, jab, right hook. So for people that are reaching out to their customers and asking questions, is it more about selling, or is it really about asking questions and getting them information?
I really think it's all about establishing that true connection with them, that true relationship. They're not a transaction. And customers, I know I felt that way with other products that I've bought. You know, if there's a salesperson that's trying to sell me some lipstick, let's say makeup or whatever, and they just contact me because I had a sale, you know, that's great. I want to be informed and that's great. But somebody that comes to me and say, "Hey, Norma, you know, I'm just keeping a lookout. I've been thinking about you. This is your best shade colors. I know you've tried all different kinds, but I think this was the one that you're really going to look good in." Those type, you know, those are things that are going to motivate me to go back to that person or think about it, or maybe even buy that lipstick because she was thinking about me. She understands
Right.
the different colors or my shade or
Right.
whatever it is. Again, it's establishing that relationship with your customer.
Awesome. Very cool. Appreciate that. I
Right.
think that's great insight.
Yeah. And so, okay. So my third tip is become your customer's trust person, right? Can they trust you? Do you care about them? Just like kind of what we were saying was following up on them, not about just a sale, but maybe they've tried 5, 6 different flavors and they haven't had success with actually liking one. And there is the grape flavor, for example. Okay, this is the one, Susie, that I know you're absolutely gonna love. Let's give this a try. You know, here I'm sending this over to, you know, for you to try, something like that.
You might even mail a loyal customer. You might mail them a new flavor single pack and say,
Right,
"Listen, I'm thinking of you." That's a huge investment because people are like, "Well, that cost me money," but yet the return on that is you can't quantify the return,
right,
right? Hey, you thought of them.
right.
That
So,
It's interesting by
yep.
that. How many times does somebody reach out to you and you're like, "You couldn't have reached out on a better day. Thank you so much." I get that a lot when you hit somebody randomly and they're like, "That's like the perfect day. I needed to hear that today." And so I think that's really cool that you do that.
I don't know what's going
And that's a value. Oh, we got you. I covered for you. You're
on.
good.
Okay,
You're
good,
good.
cool. I want to know,
Um,
my internet's working all the time and then come to this and then it's like
it's
going in
just
and
me.
out.
I have this electrifying energy that I can shut down the web.
So,
That's what we found.
yeah, so building trust is you know, I think it's very important because, you know, if a customer is asking you questions, and we don't have to be experts. I'm by no means an expert, but there are different ways that I can go find the answers for my customers. And I think it's just very important that if a customer messages me, even though I may not, I would like to answer the message right away, I don't always have that time because I work with, you know, globally. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm 10 hours behind the Middle East. So I can't always answer their questions at all, you know, in a hurry because I'm dealing with my kids in the morning. But I'll do leave a little message to say, "I will answer you in an hour," or "I'll get back with you," or "I'll research this for you." Um, so it's important that, you know, if your customer's asking you message, sending you an inquiry or whatever, that you don't wait 2 or 3 days to answer them
Right.
back, right?
Right.
It doesn't have to be immediate, but you don't want to wait a week
Right.
to answer them back.
Yeah. I find that can happen for people when we always say that be careful of being casual because it can create a casualty. Or you take your business casual, it'll create a casualty. And what happens, I think, sometimes is when they don't compartmentalize their day and their life. And Jarek Robbins did a really cool session yesterday about this. And now, at the one hand, I used to be on top of everything. Like I would respond instantaneously all the time, and that's like, okay, I'm not compartmentalizing other parts of my life, right? I'm making this the only priority. But I think that's important for you to share because I think what happens when people they're like, well, it's not really going as fast as I want to, but yet they're not responding to people within 2 or 3 or 4 days. Well, that person is maybe going to start looking for other people that are more active,
Right.
engaging. Their eyes are going to go to somebody else to
Right.
get the information they're looking for. At the same time, you have to make sure you protect your own time, and that's just through proper communication. So I think that's a really really good point.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Um, so tip number 4, building a meaningful relationship and not just having transactional sales, right?
Right.
Nobody wants to feel like they are not important, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But investing time in your customers, you know, messaging them, and it doesn't even have to be about ketones. It could just be, "Hey, Susie, I just hope you're having a wonderful week. Reach out if you need anything." So many people need this. So many
Yes.
people are going through bad day. Yesterday, I was doing a Zoom activity with Kate, and she had us do this. And I reached out to 5 people. Out of the 5 people, 4 people responded back and said, "Hey, Norma, you know what? This couldn't have come at a better time. Thank you."
I just said that when your phone died. I was
Oh,
like, I just said that, like, because what's funny is that that happens a lot. Like, you know, people think it's about selling a product and how much, like, when they think of business, they think about how much am I selling, what's the bottom line, and everything else. And I think that was the old way, but the
mhm,
new way is about the person, right?
right.
If you want a long lasting customer, if you want to build success, build people. And the best way to do that is to connect with them. And that's sometimes often just, hey, I hope you're having a great day. I'm thinking about you.
Right.
Hey, I'm grateful for you for trusting in me and trying this product.
Right.
I don't know if we don't get enough of that, especially with the way the world is today, with the there's so much energy, I would say, heavy energy or negative energy out there about everything going on, and people have opinions, and it's kind of controversial at all times. People need to hear that and realize, you know what, listen, we're going to be okay.
Right.
Life, we're going to be good.
Right.
Humans are pretty resilient people. We're going to be fine. So they
Yeah.
just sometimes need to hear that. So I truly appreciate you saying that. I think it's something, and prove it, that we've done a great job of, is, almost every
It's
single event you get a we do gratitude texts out to the world to show the world that we care, and I think that's cool.
right. And I mean, I've had customers say, out of all the people or that I buy products from, you're the one that is reaches out to me the most. You're the one that sends me a little cute text when, or meme or whatever, or even a happy birthday,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Because I'm not on Facebook as much. I'm on Instagram, but I know people's birthdays because I do try to keep a little log. And if
Mhm.
I can remember in my day-to-day stuff and it's their birthday, I'll just send them a quick little happy birthday on Instagram. And really, that just makes people smile. I mean, we just, I love Brian's love matters, or be kind, or, positivity. And again, this is all about building that relationship with your customer, because they're going to feel good about you as the go-to person. And again, when somebody is needing something, or they have a friend or family or whatever, guess what? They're going to refer you to them. And
Exactly.
when they start referring you to them, that helps your customer get those 2 people so
Right.
that they can get free ketones.
Right. And that customer, when their life is getting in a better place, they become they wake up that warrior or that giant inside of them, and that greatness inside of them, and they might be your next promoter. So that's
Right.
great.
Right. Okay. So the fifth one I call it create loyalty. And again, it's a combination of all these things. But what I like to do with my customers that have been buying ketones and or whatever, I will send them something new, send them a text or a message when I have new flavor drops. When we have new flavor drops, I sent them some information with the new Prove It meals as well. I try to invite them to whatever groups that might benefit them. So all these things again are creating a relationship, a conversation, so that we're always continuing this conversation. And it doesn't mean I have 10 conversations a week with one person, right?
Right.
It's just keeping in touch, keeping in your customer's mind that you are out there available to answer any questions when needed. And creating customer loyalty could be sending them, that text, but maybe one free sachet, or doing something cute with their little sample bag, making yourself stand out over anybody else, because I want my customer to come back to me, right? Not
Right.
necessarily reach out to somebody else. And sometimes that's what happens with the one-time transactional sales. If you're not.
Oh, I think she froze again. She froze again. Oh, that's just so fun. She's all prepared, and next thing you know, our internet's going down. And I think that's really
My
important. I
internet
think
went out
being
again.
able to.
There you
Oh,
go.
that's
Oh my gosh, it's so
Hey,
embarrassing.
it's okay. What's good about this is I've done a few interviews in my day, and it's easy for me to just kind of weave in and weave out. So I actually didn't say anything after this one because it happened.
But when you're talking and you're creating that loyalty and that trust, I mean, I try to let my customers know that I am on a mission, not just to help them feel better or to just grow my business, but I wear it every day, 1 million customers, right? That's my goal. That's my mission. And I take this to heart. I wear it and I believe in it. And it's what I want to do, whether again, it's somebody reaching their goals, helping them, we have so many resources in this company. We don't have to be the expert.
Right.
And we have so many mentors within the company as well. I mean, like, you're a huge mentor to me, Dustin. And and I just want to share this real quick with the audience, is that you made me really think the other day when I messaged you, and I'm like, I have this person, you know, he's a famous person, and I'm going to send some product to him. What do I do? Because I got super scared. And you're
So
like,
say this again. So
what?
she was going to send a product to somebody that's really well known and the globally known, and she hits me a message saying like, "What do I say? What do I say?" And what did I tell you to say?
What would you say to your regular customer? And I thought, you know what? That was the most sound advice ever, because that's probably what that person wants as well. They don't want to be known as the famous person, right? Just treat them like a regular, any other customer, and just make sure that, one, they get the ketones, two, that they're starting them, and three, help, resolve any issues, or making sure that they're doing, well on the ketones or whatever. So that was great. But
I learned that from Michael Rutherford. He's like, they wipe their butt like we do. So listen,
yeah.
just treat them the same. Just treat them the same. And what's funny is you'll get actually more from them when you treat them as a person, right?
Right.
And in some ways as in equal as, yeah, they maybe have created more success in one area, but they may be lacking success in other areas. Maybe their
Right.
health and vitality is struggling, which you've actually gotten really good at. So you're more famous at being healthy than they are. So sometimes it's just like, anyway, appreciate
Yeah.
you taking that piece of advice.
Oh yeah, no, but it goes back again. It doesn't matter if you're just day one as a promoter or you're a seasoned promoter. There's so many resources, and our support line and support team is just there for the asking. If you want to go out and find that, this business is not about me doing everything. It's about me connecting with somebody else to help me as well. And that's what I do for, anybody else as well. We want and whether that's a customer or a promoter, again, it's still relationship building with our own promoters, relationship building with, our customers.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, and I completely agree. I know that it's cool watching your journey, and I know we've gotten a lot closer and worked closer together. Will I be seeing you in more? I don't actually know.
Absolutely.
We are going to be in more whenever this video gets completely released out. We're going to be going to Louisville, Kentucky, and I have some potentially really good news about that. I can't disclose yet, but there might be a little surprise happening there, which I'm super excited about. But we'll see if it actually unfolds before I'm going to deliver that. But it's we're in the relationship business. Now we're here to inspire people to become better, and I'm going to have you read that your quote that you said to kind of wrap up here in a second, but at the end of the day, if you treat people as people and how you would want to be treated, and go a little above and beyond, you will create a longer sustainable business, but also that replicates. And think about the world right now is willing to give a little bit more to the next person as they pursue the best version of themselves. How much different does our world become for our kids? And I think that's where you and I align. I have my mission to a million right up above me, and I know you're
Yeah.
wearing yours. And we really generally not just want to improve our lives, we want to improve lives around us and create a new world for our kids to have more positivity, more love, more embracing, and more wellness, mentally, emotionally, spiritual wellness. And so I just got to say, I appreciate you for sharing your wisdom with us and your inspiration to go out and change so many lives. No boundaries. I mean, literally, we're not open in Saudi, y'all, but there's no boundaries. Norma's like, I'm going to change lives wherever I can. I'm not limited by a boundary or a wall. I'm going to stay within the guidelines and rules. But at the end of the day, um, you know, I'm truly impressed by your tenacity, your work ethic, and your determination. And I didn't know you before Prove It. So I didn't know the Norma that was tired. I didn't know the
No.
Norma that was sick. I didn't know the Norma that wasn't making dinner. I didn't know that Norma. I know the I'm going to say it, the badass Norma that I know today that's going out and doing great things. And so I just got to say, I appreciate you taking a few minutes with us. And if you don't mind, before you say bye, can you hit us with that quote one more time? If
Yeah,
you have
sure. Nobody wants to see the old Norma, trust me. And that's why I will drink ketones every day. We don't want to sell products. We want people to be inspired to buy our products and participate in our community and be the inspiration to others. And that's what I live by every day. I want to inspire.
and
And
you're
that's what
doing
ketones
it.
do.
and you are doing it, and keep it up. Y'all, I appreciate you so much. Norma, she's out in Texas now, but you never know. She could be anywhere. As I've gotten to
Absolutely.
know, she's willing to jump on that flight and go make a difference. And I just appreciate you. Thanks for taking some time with us today.
You're welcome.
And y'all, this will be, if you're watching it live, super awesome. If you're watching the replay, in the chat, just tell us, where you're from, and what inspires you. What inspires you, and maybe what's one thing that you can do today to help improve a relationship in your life, and go do it. Take the time to go do it. So Norma, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you. And we'll be seeing you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, great. Bye,
Cheers.
Dustin. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.